The opinion expressed here do not necessarily reflect the views of the network production company. Viewer discretion is advised. This program contains violent content which may be too intense for some viewers and listeners. Viewer-listener discretion is advised. This week on Serial Killers, Supernatural and Murderers. Charles Manson, cult leader.
Hey, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Dark Society Paranormal Podcast. I am your host, Shane McLean, and this is our fabulous producer, Gwen.
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I cannot complain, but like I said, it wouldn't do me any good anyway. No one's going to want to listen to all that, but I love our intro. I love the beginning because, All Access, we have so many shows that are about to premiere and come on. And it's amazing how this is going, and we are growing. If you guys haven't gone on and check out our Facebook page, All Access Network, and we are growing like crazy, and it's just going to be an amazing time. I predict the first of the year is going to be something magical.
It absolutely is, and we have a great guest tonight here. So
absolutely, we do. We have the one and we have the only Mr. Shawn Ellis.
There he is.
Hello, everyone.
What's up, buddy? What's up? Good. How are you?
Doing fine. It's been a little bit, but yeah.
Everybody, this is Shawn Ellis here. He's a good friend of mine. He'll get into all, but this is actually the first time for him being on this show here. But this is actually round 3 for us. I have been on his show twice. Yes. So we're very familiar with each other. Everything's organic. It's going to work good. So, Shawn, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Shawn Ellis. I am the founder of the Eternal Ex-Wolfpack Paranormal and lead investigator. I also host a talk show, the Eternal Ex-Wolfpack Paranormal, the talk show, where we have guests and teams from all around the world, and we discuss about spirits and a little bit of everything and their experiences as well. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. And you're a part of a pretty good network there too, aren't you? Tell everybody about your network that you're a part of.
Yes, I am a part of the Channel 12 TV network with several other people. We have a Rock and Randy's Body Slamming Conversations on there, along with Tracy Jones, the Paranormal White Witch. We have Jim's Emporium, where he can book travels on boats for you guys. We have Dill's Great Outdoors, NCI Bigfoot Investigators. We have also Marie Dumont. She's coming to the network as a Bigfoot researcher, and she'll have a show coming on. And Corey Calloway, Crystallized Goddess of the Stones, will be coming soon as well.
Mm.
Awesome.
See, you guys got a lot going on there too. And if you guys haven't checked out Channel 12 or anything like that, guys, please go check them out, because these are a group of great people. And if you want to see some funny stuff, there's a couple of those shows that are on there where they are wide open. They are wide open. It's like a no holds barred podcast, and it's awesome. It's awesome. And Shawn is just one of the ones, and he's going to be blessing Channel 12 with his shows, and I look forward to watching them too. So you guys tune into him also, okay?
Yes, please do.
Yep. Well, Shawn,
Yes,
since
sir.
this is round 3 for us, I feel like we've covered, a whole lot. So we're gonna just kind of take it back a little bit here. What exactly got Shawn Ellis into the paranormal?
Well, when I was 21, I seen my grandmother come sit with me in the church pew where I always went to church at.
In church?
She came in looking like, well, it was the vision of in church, I should say. So it was in, how do I say, the dreamscape. She sat down next to me and walked through the doors of the church and everything, sat down next to me. And she looked like she was younger, like just when she got married. She had her grandkids pennant on her shoulder, which all the 21 kids at the time. She had a birthstone one. She didn't look like she aged any. She didn't have any ailments. And like I said, looked like the time she did when she got married. And she sat down right next to me in the pew where I always sat in church, and said, "Don't you ever worry about a thing. You're going to make it." So that's what got me into it. After she passed away, there was several things that happened in the house, like the washer would not shut off when we were washing her linens. My mom would see visions of my grandma and my grandpa at the time, and he passed away back in about 85. And that's what got me started wanting to know more, is because seeing that, knowing that, and I wanted to know more. So that got me into it back then. And then for a while, I was going to church constantly all the time, and I started seeing visions of things that was happening before they would happen. That kind of freaked me out and scared me away for a little bit. And finally, I started realizing and understanding what that meant and what it was. And I came back into the paranormal and realized that I am an empath, a clairvoyant, and I can do energy work as well. I've been taking shaman classes for about 1.5 years now. And also I had a Reiki master as one of my mentors when I was on my older team.
Oh, wow.
That's
Wow.
great.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's really good that you had an experience like that wasn't, so tragic. I also had one that was similar to that, and my grandfather had passed, and he made a mirror that was in my grandmother's den room, and I was standing there getting ready for church, just like you were. I was adjusting my tie and everything, and I looked up into the mirror, and he built this mirror. He built the whole frame around it and everything. And I looked up. Now he had already passed, and I looked up, and he was standing behind me with his hand on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't see his hand. I turned around to look, didn't see anything. I turned back, and he wasn't there. And I knew then, I mean, from a very early age, you know, I have been chasing, you know, the paranormal, you know, just trying to figure everything out. And I think that's a beautiful thing about the paranormal, because, you know, some people get into it because they like the fear, you know, of paranormal. They like the jumpiness of paranormal. Some people get in because they want to communicate with loved ones or past ones or anything. So I mean, there's a combination of a little bit of everybody, and I think all of us really. And but I'm glad to hear that you had that you had an experience like that. And so when you first started, and you like, did you start with a team or anything as a teenager?
No, back then I knew that I had some abilities at the time. I just refused to acknowledge it. But about 3 years ago, I joined a team, and that's when I hooked up with a Reiki master. And she was my mentor, and she helped me understand how to do the empath and energy work and things like that. And then I've worked through all that, understood all that, and I've had what they call the Manaki rites, which are 9 rites that are Native American.
Whoa.
And they allowed me to ground to anything around me and take energy away from it and turn it into a positive energy. So sometimes, like when you guys go into a room and it feels heavy and really bad, that doesn't feel like that for me. It feels like it's heavy, but not as bad as it would be for somebody else, because I can ground myself to anything. And that helps me deal with the situations that I do deal with, because we've come across attachments and things like that with people and had to take care of them as well. So during the time that I was going through my Manaki rites is when I found out who my guides were and my guardians. And those guys would teach me things in my dreams that, you know, nobody else would know about. And that helps out a lot as well.
So do you, I heard you speak on these visions, and you and I have talked about this before, but I mean, how were you able to just kind of blow them over, not pay attention to them, you know, when you were younger? Because I know I get premonitions and visions, and the ones that I get are never good. If I get a premonition and a vision, it's usually something is about to happen that is not good at all. I don't like getting them. I don't know why I get them. I got them after my grandmother had the same thing when she was, and she's an old Irish woman. She had the same thing, and when she passed away, they went right to me, and I started getting them. I mean, all the way to where my mom and I were in a car, and I was young. And we were at a stoplight, and I had a very intense vision. And I saw like a bad crash, fire. I mean, just all kind of stuff. And like people were dead. And this is all at a stoplight.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in the left lane, and the light turned green. And I told my mom, I said, don't go. Whatever you do, don't go. And she said, what are you talking about? And I took the car and I threw it up in park, you know, because I'm in there. And the second I did that, the car next to us went forward, and a 6-wheel truck, dually truck, came and floored it around the corner, T-boned that car, put them up into a concrete telephone pole, killed every single person, including two children in that car. And that would have been my mother and I. And see, I don't like getting those, but they are helpful sometimes. But how did you, as a young kid, how were you able to kind of push them back?
I would say the majority of the ones I seen when I was younger were actually positive ones, fortunately. I mean, some things I would see of my friends of happening and what would happen, but I've never really seen the bad side of it. I got tested a few times when I got to be 24, about the time I got married. I got rebaptized again, and I was in baptism class. And I happened to look out the window, and the devil looked over the side of the window and looked down at me and looked through the window and says, "Where is your God now?"
Oh, wow.
And I said, "He's right here." So I've seen things like that before, and I just don't let the fear let him have that power. I just don't let it happen. And I've seen things with my friends, because I have friends that are ministers, and I didn't understand it at the time before I got on the team, the old team anyway, that I would have visions. And one of the visions was I was standing out in the middle of the desert, and there's a big, huge door that looks like a castle door.
Right.
And I'm standing on this platform, and I'm looking up at the sky, and all I see is lightning and storms and jets and angels and tanks on the ground, angels falling out of the sky, and stuff like that. And my friends told me I seen what they call a time slip, because every time I'd wake up from that dream, I turn around and I'd go back to sleep, and it would pick up exactly where it left off. And I'd be wide awake, but then as soon as I went back to sleep, it would pick right back up, and it was that same dream. And I was standing in front of the door, and it's got this big old chain on it, and I hear this voice in my head that says, "Whatever you do, don't let anything come out of this door." So to me, my friends have said to me that I was one of the guys that dreams of yet to come from the Bible. So I looked at it that way, as being a benefit of seeing things to happen sometimes. So instead of being a bad thing, I look at it as a positive thing.
Oh yeah. And see, I wish I would have something like, if I'm going to have it, and I wish I didn't have them at all. I haven't had any in a long time, but when I do get them, they're very, very intense, and I really don't like them. But it sounds like to me that you have a good control over yours. You have good experiences with it. I can't say that. I can't say that I've had even not one with my aunt. I mean, anything that's ever happened. It even happened in dialysis. I had a vision in dialysis one day, and that same night, I had a vision, and I saw two big tubes like this with blood going up and down into the tubes like this. And when I came out of it, the nurse knocked over the blood thing, and the blood went under the chair of the guy sitting right next to me. And I had just come out of this vision, and the guy was deaf sitting next to me. That night he went home, and when he fell asleep, he died in his sleep. And he had blood in his lungs. And I saw it. And see, and I just I don't like them. I don't like getting them, and I know they are a gift. I didn't ask for them. I didn't, but a lot of the times, when God gives you things in your life, you don't necessarily ask for them. He gives them to you because, they need to be used and utilized, not only for your good, but for the good of others and for his glory. Right. And that's what we want to do. But I'm glad to hear that you do use yours for that, and that's pretty fascinating, actually. I've always been, and you said you're Reiki also. There's probably some people on here that don't really know what Reiki is. Can you
Reiki
explain
is
that?
dealing with energy. Reiki is dealing with energy in your body and being able to manipulate things and heal yourself and help others. Realign your chakras and etc. That's what Reiki is all about, is relaxation, meditation, and be able to concentrate and focus and do things with the energy that most people can't. And
Oh
that
yeah.
helps out a lot, because I pick up things when I walk into a room that I don't even need a device to pick up, because I can tell if it's good or bad when I walk in there. And that has to do with energy. And like I said, part of my Menaki rights, one of the things I benefited from that as well, going through them, is I come across the sign, because when you have your Menaki rights, it allows you to dream more. And that's where I picked up my guides and my guardians, and they taught me things. They would also show me signs of things that I could do. And me and my Reiki master at the time would go through and decipher these signs that we got. And one of them was balance. And that's a good thing, because people doesn't understand balance is the key, because you have to learn the good with the bad in order to understand it all. And if you do not understand it all, then you're only learning one side of it.
Now is Reiki, is that more on a spiritual level, or is that physical, like a practice?
It's a little of both, actually, because I can actually put my hand up against somebody's and they can feel my hand like 5 to 10, maybe 15 feet away, the energy that comes off my hand. So
Wow.
it can actually be a physical thing, because I can take my hand, if somebody holds it up, and I can do this, and they'll hold their hand.
We did that before. Yeah.
Yeah. You can feel it in the palm of your hand. So that's part of balancing with your energy and working with your energy.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you've got a lot of stuff that, like, if you like me, for instance, I'm the associate pastor for SOSMA, and that's under Father Torres, so I'm a minister, but I'm also a paranormalist. I like investigating. I like doing, but what would you consider, like, if somebody were to put a title on Shawn Ellis, what would that title be?
I would say an investigator, a helper, because I want to help people. I've been to residents where I've helped them understand what's going on in their house. Just down to earth. And like I said, I'll break things down to find out if it's actually a paranormal thing or not. And then I will explain what's going on. And if it is, then I explain it the other way as well. But I would say more as a teacher, a guide, a guardian for others to help, because I will help anybody that needs help. I will teach anybody that needs help, and I won't back down, because if they're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach them.
That's
I want to say for just a second, and I hate to interrupt, but we got some folks watching.
Hey guys,
Father Torres, Kathy,
hey, Father.
Tracy, of course. I know we have
Tracy.
others, that aren't showing up exactly because ours don't all the time. But I just wanted to say, hey, thank you guys for watching, and please continue to.
Yeah, thank you guys. If you don't mind, go ahead and share this out. Invite some people. My wife's finally back, so she'll get on and also share it out. But I'm glad that all of you are here. Again, if you're just getting on, this is Shawn Ellis. We were just talking about his paranormals and like a title that he would give himself from the gifts that he has. So that's what we were speaking of. I've known you for a while now, Shawn, and I know that you do. I know that you do like locations and stuff like that. But do you think your team does more on the residential side, or do you do more on the location side?
I would say I've done more residentials
Hmm.
than my team has because my team's pretty new. They've only been around since January, and a lot of them are still new to the field, and I'm still teaching them stuff as well.
Oh yeah.
And letting them understand what's going on when we get time to go out. We also do locations. We've been out at a few locations, and I've actually picked up 2 new apprentices here the last couple months that have joined my team, and they're really interested in learning. So that's what we've been doing. We've been going to a couple locations before the weather got bad, but
Yeah.
So,
That's
but yeah.
That's good though that you give people like I know a lot of teams that are so well off, and I like to say well off like that, but I know a couple of them out of New York that if you don't have 5 years experience that you can't even get on their team. So and I mean I do understand that to some aspect. I do get it. I do understand it. But like Outer Realms and Spur and stuff like that. Like we we want people of all categories in, whether you have zero experience or you have 50 years experience.
Mhm.
We have a place for you, and that sounds like
Right.
you do too.
Right. And I don't, how do I say, discriminate on religion. Everybody has their own religion. I don't try to push anybody's religion on anybody. If you believe in something, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I will agree with it. And when we go to residents, if they have a certain belief, that's how we handle it.
Mm.
We deal it with their religion style, and not with
Mm.
something they're not familiar with it, so it makes them feel comfortable as well. And that's why I said learning both sides and learning from everybody is always a good thing, because when you stop learning, you're not learning nothing at all. You're just sitting in the water like a lame duck. And
Yeah.
as long as you keep learning, you'll keep growing.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. And I love that, and like I don't base on religion. Everybody knows, anybody that knows me knows I am Christian, but I don't for any means, discriminate against anybody. It's like when people use methods of cleansing and clearings, they say, oh, well, I do it this way. And this is exactly what I tell them. If it works for you, then it works for you.
Right.
I'm not going to sit there and tell you that, oh, that's wrong or that doesn't work, because obviously it does, because it's working for you. And
Right.
I just wish more people were open minded like that, to where, you don't have to push your criteria or agenda or anything on people, that you accept people right where they are, because they have to figure out stuff on their own. And if you try to push something on somebody, sometimes it throws people off of it anyway. And I've noticed that quite a bit.
Yeah. Like I said, it's good to have different people on your team. Like I've got Wiccans on my team, and I've got empaths and clairvoyants. And when we go out, we get the job done. We work together. We solve it. We make sure that when we leave, that the client is satisfied. That's definitely for sure, because I don't want, how do I say, a client with a child there or somebody that's having issues to feel uncomfortable in their house. One of the second investigations I had this year, just after we started the team, we had an older lady. She was in her 80s that was having issues with sound in her house, and doors, the cabinet doors opening, hearing noise in the background, and etc. And she was really nervous when we got there. She's like, I don't want nothing bad to come here. And I was like, you don't have nothing to worry about. We'll figure this out. And the team got there, and I sat with them, and I said, like, look, she's really nervous. We're not going to record anything. You know, we're just going to go in. We're going to help this lady out. We're going to do what we can do. And one of the things that we figured out, it was a couple children in there. And also, when I walked into the house at first, it kind of had that warm feeling to it. So you knew it wasn't nothing bad in the house. It was just somebody wanting attention. So we had some of our equipment out. We come up with some names, and the older lady actually got up, went to the back room where we got some of the activity, and she was talking to the children. She goes, hi. You know, she wanted to be involved. She wanted to understand what was going on in her house. And it come over the Ovilus and said, hi back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she says, and then it says old. And then the older lady says, I'm not that old. You know, how an older lady would say, you know. And she says, you guys like it here? And they go, yes. So I walked her back to the kitchen and sat down, and she goes, Shawn, she goes, what are you going to do? And I said, there are a couple kid spirits. I said, one thing you got to remember, I said, they're not really causing any harm. You're hearing noises, you're hearing the doors open and et cetera, and knocks and stuff like that. But if you think about it, it's a child wanting attention. And I said, they may be looking at you like a grandmother figure. You know, they're wanting attention. And she says, well, they can stay if they like. And I said, okay. I said, we know what it is. We know what's going on. And I said, one thing I said, you might want to do just to make them happy once in a while. I said, play some music during the afternoon.
Yeah.
Or just up a kid's book and read it just out loud, you know? And she says, I will do that. I will do that. And she says, if I have any problems, I'm going to be the first one. I'm going to call you. And she never called. So about 2 weeks later, I actually went back and checked on her. And she was so happy that I showed up. And she said, Shawn, she says, I was almost about ready to sell my house until you guys came, of all the stuff going on here. And I didn't understand what it was. But she said, you made me feel comfortable in my own house again. And that was the best feeling ever, to know that we and my team actually did that for somebody. And I thought that was pretty awesome.
That's amazing. We got a call to go to Savannah, Georgia at River Street Inn, and Bootleggers is a bar that was down there, but it's been there. That building has been there for, what was it, like 1800s, 1892 or something like that. And like the waitresses, the people in the hotel, they were all getting like shirts tugged, you know, they were getting touched, you know, they would see stuff, they would see shadows, and we went and did an investigation in there. And later on in the bar, you know, we started setting up equipment. We were having like good access with the equipment, but it came through. There was a general that was there, and they were like old patrons that were there. And it was like they didn't want any kind of trouble. They just didn't want to leave the bar. They didn't want us to cleanse them. They didn't. And when I first went in there, you know, the owner was like wanting to do like a very in-depth cleansing, you know, of the bar, of the hotel, you know, and stuff like that. And we told them, we said, hey, listen, there's nothing like malicious here. You know, I mean, this is just a general, you know, he wants to be here. He loves people. They love being around people. And now that they have a better understanding of that, River Street Inn is now, because of that, going to be on the haunted tour list of Savannah.
Cool.
They wanted to rid that, you know, and cleanse everything. And, you know, anybody that knows me knows I do a very thorough, intense clearing and cleansing. And I knew if I did that, then I mean, yeah, it would have been cleansed there, but they're getting, a lot more revenue, a lot more business. They're getting people, coming in for the fact of, that's an old place where a general and some other people are. We got names for them. We found names. We found names of the patrons. We knew who was there. We knew who was in the hotel. We knew who stayed in the bar. And I mean, it was just, it was real welcoming. And, I'm glad that you helped that lady, like, cause that kind of is like the same situation. And, not all hauntings, are demonic, and not all hauntings are bad, there's not a YouTube, for every single haunting. I've had several that were not malicious at all. I had a lady that was told because her cabinets were coming open that was a demon in her house, and she was scared to death. Her family was scared to death. And when we found out everything, her husband left one morning to go on a motorcycle, and he was killed in a crash. And when he was living, he would play games with her. When he was living, she would put the dishes up and stuff like that. He'd go back and open up the cabinets. That was just her husband trying to tell her that he was there, he was watching over, and that he's not leaving. And if that they would have had it, they would have listened to that other paranormal team, they would have thought there was a demon in there. And let me tell you, a big bad demon opens up cabinets. Wow, you better watch out.
Yeah.
Right.
Like so
said, people call demon too much, and instead of actually investigating and digging down into it, because demons are actually pretty rare, and if you actually come across one, you're gonna know it. Trust me, it's not gonna be nice.
100%.
We've ran.
You guys, Kathy is saying she loves those stories, and they're just being kind to do that thing for people.
But thank you, guys. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tracy's like, oh, it made me chuckle. So, yeah. But yeah, I agree. Demons are, you'll remember.
Pretty rare. But I have been into an investigation. It was like 12 hours long with another team called Paranormal, and they were just on my show here last Saturday night. That the location, before they ever got to there, they found a half a body in the house. Wow. And the things that they went in and actually did an investigation on their own, and they called in my older team, which I was on at the time, and we went there to team up with them. And the things that we found and come across were identical to the same things they came up with when they were there the first time. And we also come across a spirit that had children trapped in the basement and was using their energy. And things that would come over our hearing and our EMFs that would say like murder, rape, kill. Well, it was part of the Underground Railroad too. This house was.
Oh yeah.
We also come across things that were related to Charles Manson and John Wayne Gacy. Articles that were in the house. We also come across some pretty bad, obscene books from children in them that I'm not going to go into detail about. But we had a picture of a young boy that we couldn't figure out what the picture was linked to. But the old lead from my team was skimming through the book and found that child's picture in that book. Well, they were published in the late 60s and 70s under an anonymous publisher here in Illinois. And like I said, you don't do that stuff. So we thought there was a child's ring going on there as well at one point, which is a bad deal. But what ended up happening, we ended up entrapping that spirit. I put him in a crystal, a tiger's eye, and we got rid of him. And we had a REM pod in the doorway where we were in the location at. And we ended up getting that to light up several times. And over the Ovilus, we got 14 children's names that left that night when we crossed them over.
Oh, wow. Wow.
From with that bed that was in there. And that one was one of the most intense investigations I've ever been on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at any point in time during that, I mean, where you were getting the evil, murder, blood, stuff like that, I mean, was there any kind of indication that it possibly could have been demonic in any way?
Well, knowing the fact that we actually took luminol to one of the rooms and we actually found blood still in some of the walls. We were upstairs in the attic. The door actually opened on its own, and we thought maybe it was the floorboard that actually opened it. So me and the lead at the time, between the two of us, we weigh 400 pounds. We were sitting there jumping next to this door when it was wide open, and this door would not move at all. But when we were away from it that one time, it just closed on its own. We walked the floor around it to make sure the joints on the floor wasn't the one causing that door to swing.
Right.
But it actually closed on its own. In the fact that we found stuff there from Charles Manson, articles about him and Gacy. A week after we were there, my mom actually found another article saying Gacy was actually in this area, in the Galesburg, Illinois area, in the Monmouth area. So we wonder if he wasn't at that house at one point in time. So knowing him and knowing what he's done, it could have been something that's been attached to him that was really bad at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a huge difference. And what he said, guys, is, like a lot of these YouTube shows and stuff, they want to say demon this, demon that. We work spiritual warfare. I'm the resident demonologist for Spur. We work and honestly, guys, out of all the cases that you're going to do, 1% will maybe be demonic. And that, and that right there is being gracious, considering, not everything is demonic. Not all hauntings are demonic. And if you've got a team or you've got people that in every single investigation that they go to, that there's a demonic presence or something like that, I would really be checking the people that you're going there with, because they're going to be more of an issue than what it's really worth, because your chances of running into a demonic case like that, or like I said, 1%. And even with his, where it was, Charles Manson stuff, blood, gore, I mean, just stuff like that, that even still doesn't qualify itself in a demonic case. So I mean, if you guys are thinking because a coffee cup goes across the room, or doors are opening, or windows rattling, or something like that, if that makes things demonic to you, really do your homework and find out what happens in a true infestation that turns to oppression and then possession. Really look at that stuff before you sit there and say, because I'm sorry to tell you, but if you have an angry spirit and they're throwing coffee cups around there, that doesn't qualify your haunting as demonic at all.
Exactly.
And so don't listen to all that. Don't get a YouTube education. Just learn from people that really care about this industry. Learn from real paranormalists, people that study this craft, that really love what they do, that know that 1% may be demonic. And your chances being on a paranormal team of running into a demonic case are very low also. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen. I mean, I guess anything could happen. I mean, I could run into a Mack truck running naked in my boxers tomorrow, but I'm not saying that I'm going to do it. I mean, it's so so don't get a YouTube education, and I mean, you would agree with me, that I mean, we've got some great people in this field, and if you watch how a lot of people like do these investigations, you can learn a lot from people, and you can also learn a lot about what you shouldn't do from people too in this field.
Exactly. I do agree with
true.
that. One of the things I actually teach my team as well is to debunk first. We want to find out if there's an actual regular reason for it to be happening.
Yep.
And then we'll take next steps to find out why it's happening. Can we replicate it? Can we do it to make it happen again? What caused it?
Yep.
That's one of the things I teach my team as well. And that's another thing. Also, one thing I've also realized, I've come across several people with attachments, and the reason why they get attachments is because their energy level is low, their morale is low, they're down at their lowest point, they're not feeling good. They're always talking bad, which manifests more things, and they don't realize this. You've got to change your attitude. You have to change what you're talking about. You have to manifest good things in order for it to change it. But that's how people get attachments, is because the energy level is low. And as long as your energy level is high, I've never seen one attached to anybody. And it's come over to the obvious when me and my mentor at the time, we were on an investigation. It come over the obelisk. It says, we don't like you. And the reason why it didn't like us is because we had high energy. It didn't want to be around us. We had to leave the room for them to get responses. So we just walked away.
That is true though. You'll get a lot of what you put in, and if you, and I tell everybody, Angie, what's the very first rule of our team? Debunk what?
Everything.
Debunk everything first. That's the smartest way to do an investigation, because if you knock out the obvious first, and it's still going on and there's no explanation, that's the beauty of paranormal right there. Because EMFs can fool you. There's so many REM pods. If you've got a cell phone next to a REM pod, and that can make it go off, or two-way radios, there's so many things that you can debunk in the paranormal first. But there's those times to where you have eliminated all that stuff, and then you have stuff going on, and then you're like, I don't think I can replicate this. I don't think there is let's debunk this anymore. And that's where the paranormal really gets fun. That's where your investigations start counting. That's the things that you want to remember. That's what makes the paranormal. And we're all in this because we love it, man. We all love it. But if you're on a team, please debunk everything first. Be around people that have high energy, that have good energy, because you're going to get out of that investigation what you go in there with. And if you go in with a bad attitude, you're probably going to end up having a bad investigation. I mean, let's just face it. And you have to be the kind of person, like my motto for my team is be the change that you want to see. You have to be that change before you step foot in a location. You have to be that change. So
yeah, like I said, that's the intention of my team. When we go in, we want to help the people understand what's going on there and take care of the situation. So they're not afraid anymore, and to do that. And we do all that for free. I don't charge anybody to do that, because I do this for knowledge and understanding and to help the people. That's why I do this. It's nothing more, but that's why. And that's why I teach my new team members too. It's not about the money. It's not about this. It's about helping people and to understand and get them to feel comfortable in the locations they're at, or find out what's going on in these locations. So, but yeah, I definitely will
100%.
agree. Debunk everything.
Debunk everything first. Gwen, have we had any questions from anybody that possibly he could answer?
No, not yet, but I would love to have some. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah.
Check your drama
Tracy,
at the door.
Yeah, check your drama at the door.
Yeah.
I think she called it paradrama last week. Yeah.
Yeah, I do not allow drama on my team whatsoever. So I don't want them to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Tracy, I know you watch all the time. Do you have a question for our guest or Shane or anything?
Yeah, please. You guys ask away. We got a couple minutes. We got a couple minutes left. And, this has been a great show. I mean, honestly, I'm probably going to have Shawn back again because we're never done. If you haven't seen that yet, we're never completely done with the conversation.
Don't they probably do?
So we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again. Does anybody have any questions? Anything for this awesome guest?
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. They're rolling in here.
Yeah. Litriana. Do you feel that people draw entities based on your own or their own energy? Or like they are drawn to each other? Yeah,
I believe that. You can draw a negative energy if you have negative energy going on, and a positive one. Some people will, like I said, what they manifest and what they talk about will cause negative stuff. But one thing for sure, when you learn how to do balance, it's so much easier. And some people don't understand to keep that. You got to have both in order to still understand. So, but yeah, I do believe, depending on how their abilities are as well as what they'll draw, because everybody's got different guides and different guardians as well.
Absolutely. Well, we're right at about the time where we have to cut it, Shawn. I just want to tell you, man, this has been an awesome show. Thank you so much for coming on. And I like that.
Tracy's question real quick. She said, "What are our thoughts on provoking?"
Oh, I can get into that.
Say no, never. Yeah. Thank you.
Never. Go ahead, Shawn.
I never provoke spirits. That's not a good thing. I've seen people get knocked on their butt for provoking things. So yes, I have seen that happen.
Yep. And me too, if you go in and you have a provoking kind of spirit to you, if you have something happen to you on that, then you have basically encouraged that yourself. If you,
you're feeding into it.
Right. I mean, like I said, you're putting in exactly what you're wanting to get out of it. And if you go in there and you provoke and, you try to stir the pot, as they say, then you're going to have a not so good investigation at all.
Yeah, I agree, because you're just giving into it and you're feeding the source that you're trying to get rid of, or trying to resolve what is there. So provoking, it's not going to help it.
Provoking does not help at all. So I think the answer to that question is anybody who's a true paranormal investigator or paranormalist in general will tell you that provoking is 100% out of the question. There's nothing good that can come from that, and it never will come from that. So if you want to be a good paranormal investigator or paranormalist, like some good old timers that are in this field, be a good person, go in with good intentions, have high energy, keep yourself grounded, and go in there and don't provoke when you go in there, and you'll have a solid investigation. And that's what we should keep it, right?
Most definitely.
Shawn, you want to tell everybody how to contact you?
Please.
You can find me on Facebook under Eternal X Wolfpack Paranormal. You can find me on YouTube under Eternal X Wolfpack Paranormal, and you can find me on the Channel 12 TV network as the Eternal X Wolfpack Paranormal Talk Show. You can find me in those three locations. Normally, I record most of my shows on Sunday night, and they normally air on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So if you subscribe and like to the Channel 12 TV network, you'll find a lot of other shows besides mine on there as well. But that's where you can find me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Shawn, I thank you so much, man. You're a great guy. I think a lot of you, I don't care what my wife says about you.
Oh,
I don't care what she says about you. No.
thank you, Shawn.
I know you're joking now because I know you're joking now because Andy's great.
Oh yeah. Well, Shawn, thank you so much for coming on, man. We have to do a round 4. We have to do this again. So, and I want to thank you for everything. And of course, I want to be on your show again. I love your show. And if you guys haven't checked out his show or you haven't checked out Channel 12, go check that out because it's well worth it, guys. I mean, you got a great group of guys over there, and you guys have some amazing shows. And I look forward to seeing what you're going to do with it, brother.
Well, hopefully we can get it going because, like I said, the reason why I do it and the reason why I went to Channel 12 is I'd like to circulate enough money for my team so we can go to locations, keep bringing the shows and stuff like that. Because as we all know, StreamYard just went from $200 to $400 and some dollars a year, which doubled their price. And the fact is, like I said, some of these places are charging big prices to go investigate there as well. But I'd like to bring the best shows that we can, have the best guests we can have on the shows. And that's what I focus on. And even when we go out in the field, I'll tape the investigation. We will do it live out there. So then what you see is what we get. Awesome. I don't ever edit anything put on there. So like I said, any questions that come up that you've seen a show of mine, feel free to contact me and ask me any questions you want.
Yeah. And he will respond back to you guys. Don't think he won't. If you reach out to him, he will respond. He's a great responder, and he's just a good guy in general. So you guys, please check out his page, check out his channel. You guys follow Shawn Ellis because he's really going somewhere in this field, and I'm proud to know that he's a friend of mine. Shawn, I appreciate you coming on, and thank you so much for coming on with us. So, okay.
All right, Shane, you ready to sign off for tonight?
Yes, ma'am. All right, man.
All right. All right, Shane, go ahead.
Wow. I see, I can go all night with him. I mean, it's so organic. It's just when you have friendships with people like that, conversations, your podcast isn't really a podcast. It's like we're talking on the phone to each other. And that's what it is with Shawn. Shawn is an awesome guy. So you guys, please go follow him. And I appreciate every single one of you that took your time out of here to watch this podcast tonight. It means the world to me. We're wanting to grow too, and we want to grow with all you all, so keep tuning in, and thank you for being here, and be blessed and stay spooky, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.